I am Mark Stewart, and I'm here having listened to Chris Ryan's show this morning, Monday, the 25th of November. And if you listened to that show, you heard an extremely seductive, yes, older man named Bernie Sanders, who waxes eloquently with phrasing that it's hard to say, oh, I don't like this. Let me give you many reasons why you should not like this, why his seductive sounding ideas are terrible. It deserves to be fought. Bernie Sanders is the leader of a movement that has grown in strength. They are strong. They are wrong. And I am campaigning from the other end of Vermont. I sit in Brattleboro on the lower right. He's up in the upper left in Burlington. And the left's ascendance is about to come at the expense of everyone who act with feelings rather than reason. Let me give reason for things that should not go the Bernie Sanders way. He'd like to, he said, have 10 million units of affordable housing built. That's what we're needing to take care of America's underhoused people. Well, he may be right, but you don't do this with government payments to a select group of developers. Remember, those payments come from us, and they'll go to certain developers who are good at lobbying, who are going to do just what the government asks, but no more, no better. What's the better way? It's the free market, where when there's a need for lower cost housing, and there is, and the government removes the impediments that developers face right now, those things get built. Right now, it doesn't pay for many developers to put up multiple units when they have to fight at every step. Not just one commission, probably 4 commissions in a town, and then a state gets involved, and they almost always cut them down. They propose 18 units, and they're cut down to 10. How do you want to be a business person who, with 18 units, can make a decent profit? With 10, it's marginal, and if one thing goes wrong, you're out. So why build? Okay? No wonder there's not enough affordable housing, because governments are restricting free market. Now, if a few towns want to stay really tony and really keep out lower cost, lower income people, I don't really care. I don't want to live in those towns, and neither should they. The antidote is, because those towns do tend to have better schools, any student should be able to go to the school of their choice. And that, too, is a removal, not an increase in government restrictions. All right, number 2, Bernie wants to scrap the cap on Social Security. I agree. I have been saying this for 22 years. Now, simultaneously, I've been saying that we should get rid of Social Security altogether. It is the most reverse, what's the word for it? It's the most unfair tax, especially the African Americans, who tend to pay in longer and, because of shorter life expectancies, take out less. Black Americans should be revolting against the system. Bernie wants to just tweak the system. We should scrap it, make Social Security voluntary. If you trust the government to invest your savings and be there 40, 45 years later, fine. But if you trust yourself more, and private investment vehicles just as much, do that and save 15.2%. You want an increase in wages of workers, you let them keep the 15.2% that's being extracted right now. Boom, instant increase. Next, Bernie says that people are forced into nursing homes. Nobody's forced. If you remove restrictions on licensing, you can have very good caregivers at low cost in the home. CNAs can do 92% of what a doctor, MD, can do, but they're not allowed to. Okay? when you remove the barriers and let people treat according to their skills, the CNA is not going to do heart surgery. Okay, yes, that is for an emergency removal to a hospital. But until you have a need for a specialist, let the less specialty providers be wherever the patients are. Finally, well, there's no finally with Bernie, but I'll keep going about fair taxation. He talks about fairness routinely, but look at what is so unfair. The income taxation system in itself. And it will always be unfair because with loopholes, with Congress that can change every 2 years, it will be subject to the most manipulative people. That means the wealthiest corporations and the wealthiest individuals. You're not going to get a fair income tax. Never. The closest you had was back in 1921. Okay, when it was a relatively benign 6% on incomes above what is now like $700,000. Okay, very, very benign. But once we ratcheted up and more people were asked to pay in, the rich people managed to find ways of not paying as much proportionately. Now, they do pay far more in terms of real dollars, and that's a big debate that I'd like to get rid of. The best way to get rid of it, tax wealth, not income. That means you're not even taxing people. You're taxing real property and maybe votes. Okay, vessels and real property. There's an owner attached. That might be a trust. That might be an individual. That might be an organization. You tax that, which is very efficient. They're already on the tax rolls, and whoever the people behind them are, pay a certain percent. Fairer, far more efficient. All right, I'll have more. This is enough for now. I am Mark Stewart, StewartForLiberty.com. Chris, I hope you and your audience will take notice.